Hi, how's everybody doing today? I am your host, Rich, here on behalf of Rich TV Live with my very special guest, the CEO of Dlta Resources, Andre Tessier. How you doing today, Andre?
I'm doing quite well, thanks. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you're having a great day today, and I can see you have some news. Why don't we get right into it, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your news and what that means for Dlta Resources.
All right. Well, right now we're drilling at our Dlta 2 property in Chibougamau, Quebec. We just launched at the beginning of November, we launched a 5,000 meter drilling program. The first phase was aimed at our gold targets and was going to be in the neighborhood of 2,000 meters. And our second phase was going to be our VMS targets. As you may remember, that property has the distinction of having two different types of targets on it. So the first targets that we aimed were our gold targets in the southern portion of the property. So far, we've drilled 15 drill holes, and we're nearing the 2,300 meter mark. So we exceeded our 2,000 meters by a bit. We saw some interesting stuff in the core, so we decided to drill a few extra holes to gain a bit more knowledge, a bit more control. Now, the types of targets that we're drilling are very similar to what our neighbor has been announcing just recently. Genesis Metals, our neighbor to the west, they own the Chevrier deposit, which sits at about 700,000 ounces at this point, and they just intersected 13 grams over 11 meters on one of those northeast trending structures.
Wow.
Close to their Chevrier deposit. So we're targeting very similar geology at Dlta 2. We are currently drilling on some of these northeast trending targets and finding some really good indication of gold. Now, the second phase of the program, we were going to wait until after in the new year to start drilling these VMS targets. The VMS targets that we're drilling are very similar. There's a deposit just to the north of the property called the Lemoine mine. It's a past producing mine. Still to this date, known as the second highest grade or richest deposit in Canada. It was a small deposit, about 750,000 tons, but it was 9.4% zinc, 4.5% copper, and 4.2 grams per ton gold or something like that. So it was very, very rich. Now, our neighbor to the north, who own that deposit, are currently drilling targets at depth, and they're very enthusiastic about their drilling. So we have a symbiotic relationship, if you will. So as they drill their targets, we're going to be drilling ours, which are of course a lot closer to surface at this point. But we're planning on drilling right now until December the 18th. And then shortly after the new year, as soon as we can start again, we're going to start again on these targets. We're planning to drill a minimum of 10 of these VMS targets.
Wow. Now, it does mention that these are gold, silver, copper occurrence. What does that mean exactly? Can you explain what that means?
Well, originally, what we call our gold targets are targets, and I just mentioned the Chevrier deposit, for example. Chevrier is a gold deposit. The Joe Mann mine just to the south of us is also a gold deposit, but they had really good silver and copper credits. So I believe Joe Mann, throughout the life of mine, had 0.25% copper and a bit over 5 grams of silver. Now, where we are, our initial mechanical trenching, we got 4.5 grams per ton gold and 46 grams per ton silver and almost 1% copper in our intercepts. So it was a pleasant surprise, let's put it that way, when our gold occurrences ended up being polymetallic and having these extra credits in silver and in copper. So that's what we're sitting on right now.
So as an investor, when you're investing in Delta Resources, you're not necessarily investing just in gold. You're investing in gold, silver, and copper. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're and this is just on our gold targets. Our gold targets have these silver and copper credits. Now, the volcanogenic massive sulfide targets that we're drilling, immediately after phase one, those are actually they're gold-rich base metal targets. So they're VMS targets that have lots of copper, lots of zinc, lots of silver, and just to top it all off, they've got that gold aspect to them. Very much like the Lemoine mine. The Lemoine mine, had it been only a gold mine, it probably would have been able to make it. But on top of the 4.5 grams per ton gold that they were mining, they were also mining 9.5% zinc and 4.2% copper. So it's they're very, very rich deposit, and it gives Delta the exposure not only of gold but also of base metals.
Now, you guys have actually had a nice little run here over the last couple of weeks. We were talking to our community when you guys were under 35, and we were saying, guys, you can get in cheaper than the government, right? You've got some major players and some local government bodies and that have invested at 35 cents in Delta Resources. And I think that that's a very key number for investors, in my opinion. And we've told our investors, guys, if you can get in lower than the big boys, you're probably going to position yourselves very, very well. What we've seen now is the stock has moved past 35, past 40. We've got to around 44, 45 cents. So we're starting to get to these higher levels now. And can you speak a little bit on that? Who are those? And we've talked about this, but I really want investors to understand, who are those key players that got in at 35 cents? Can you talk a little bit about some of those players and why that's important to Delta Resources and why investors should really look at that price point of 35 cents as maybe the bottom region, and how there's, in my opinion, if you can get, probably we won't see that price again, but if you can get in at 35 or lower, you're well positioned, because you're positioned similar to some of the big investors that got in early in this company.
Well, yeah, you're right, Rich. The big players that came in are we've got 4 Quebec institutions that came in. CDEX actually came in 2 different financings. CDEX is a fund affiliated somewhat with FTQ. FTQ came in separately. Then the Société de Développement de la Baie James came in also in that financing, and Capital de Risque Desjardins also came in as well. So we've got these 4 great Quebec institutions that came in, and of course, what investors have to realize is that when you see all these stock promoters, the common theme is do your due diligence, and it can often be difficult for an investor to do the due diligence. That said, though, when you're looking at these funds have they have professionals, they have geologists, they have engineers, and they are the people who do their due diligence. And so it's flattering, or it's really affirming for Delta to have these great investors on our side. And I believe what it says to the investor at large is that Delta's for real. We've got the goods, and we plan on delivering on what we've got. So
I like what you guys are doing. You guys have a very small market cap, a baby market cap, which I believe you guys will grow. And you guys have a very small, tight share structure, which is vital for myself and our community when we're looking to make investments. Are you looking to do anything to dilute your shares over the next 6 to 12 months? Are you looking to do any acquisitions, any surprises for investors? Or are you looking to stay status quo with your share structure and just focus on drilling over the next 6, 12 months? Any plans that way, or?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, we're very aware of our share structure, and we're very protective of it. We want to stay as little diluted as we possibly can. And one thing that's really going to help us out here is last year, or this year, sorry, in June, we signed an agreement to sell our Bellechasse-Timmins property to a company called Geologica Ventures. They have so far made cash payments of $350,000 to Dlta, and there's another 1.35 million that's scheduled to come in until September 2021. So that alone is really going to keep our dilution to a minimum, because that's, of course, non-dilutive hard cash coming into the company. Now, in addition to all of this, you're probably aware, if you explore in Quebec, you get tax credits. The Quebec government is terrific at helping out the mineral exploration industry. And in the Chibougamau area, for each hard dollar that we spend on exploration, we get 43 cents back from the government in tax credits. So really, we can almost double our budgets on our Dlta 2 property, and still not get diluted. So that it's a real plus. So both these factors together, and the fact that we are being very careful with our money, we are a very lean operation, is going to really prevent us from diluting some more.
Based on what you guys are doing right now and the trajectory that you're moving in, do you feel like you will have to raise capital again in the next 6 to 12 months at some point? And if so, will you go back to those same 4 institutions and that were friendly to you and maybe go back to them? Or if you were to raise capital, would you do it differently? What's your plans for the future? Because that's always what investors are looking for. Are they going to dilute? Are they going to have to raise capital? Is that something you've thought about? Or are you just focused on drilling right now? And are you satisfied with where you're at and you're not even thinking about raising any capital in the short term or even long term?
Well, Rich, in our industry, we always think about raising capital. That said, right now, we feel that we have enough in our treasury, and we have enough that's going to be coming into our treasury via the Bellechasse-Timmins sale, that I don't think we're going to have to finance in the next 12 months. That said, should we intersect something terrific and decide, geez, we really need to drill an extra 15,000 meters on this, then we'd probably go to the investors and see if there's appetite for that. And I believe there would be. But right now, we're focused on drilling. We are focused on discovery, and we don't feel that we need to tap into the markets again for more financing.
Now, been in this market for a long time, been trading for a long time, and I've always noticed that companies typically, once they explode and they get to these higher levels, that's when they raise capital. There's got to be a method to the madness, but if you're at 40 cents and the stock explodes to $1, all of a sudden now, if you're raising capital at higher prices, less dilution on the stock, you're issuing less shares. So a lot of times it's one of the things that happens in the market a lot. You see stocks go up and then they do an offering. This is something that's very common, and a lot of shareholders don't understand this. But I think every CEO understands this, and it's the number one reason why companies go public. Can you speak on that? Like the number one reason why companies go public is so that they can use the public vehicle as a tool to raise capital. Would you agree with that? Is that the number one reason that companies go public?
I would agree 100% that that's exactly why. Now to touch on what you were saying about raising money at higher prices, like I said, raising money is always in the back of our heads, because you don't, in our industry, you don't want to run out of capital. So when your stock does explode, like you say, you take advantage of raising capital at a higher price, and therefore diluting your stock a lot less. Investors have to understand that if you raise $1 million at 20 cents versus raising $1 million at $1, there's a big difference in the amount of shares that you have to issue. So again, keeping in mind that we want to dilute as little as possible. When you start hitting these higher prices, that's when you want to finance. So of course they're moving targets, if you will. We right now we don't anticipate financing in the next 12 months, but should there be a great opportunity to do so, and minimizing the dilution to the stock, we would probably jump at it.
I love the fact that you guys are doing some media work and some marketing and advertising with B&M Bloomberg. Can you talk a little bit about that? Have you guys kicked that off already? I think you guys have already launched that. And how long is that going to be playing out? And how has that worked out so far for you? Has that brought you some new business? Get any phone calls? How's that working out for you guys?
Well, I think Frank Candido, our VP of Corporate Communication, could probably answer this better. But the way I see it is, Delta's been flying somewhat, pardon the pun, flying somewhat under the radar since inception. We started, Delta really was born in June of 2020, so 2019. So we're a pretty young company. And really, so far we hadn't hit the markets with any marketing or and the idea was let's build a solid foundation before we start trying to sell this thing. Now especially in this COVID era, where you can't go and do road shows with brokers. You can't go to PDAC and display your what you've got. You really have to up your marketing so that people are aware that you're there and that you're doing the great things you're doing. BNN was one of the solutions. They aired, I think our ad aired for the whole month of November, and it was really in preparation for the drilling phase that we're doing right now. So we're taking a pause right now on BNN, but we're continuing with other marketing ideas, and if investors are aware of our website, we try to keep them updated as much as we can via videos and via news. So that's our real focus, and we've got a few other irons in the coal, let's put it that way, to try to promote our stock as well. The promotion is one thing, but promotion, really doesn't help you a whole heck of a lot if you don't have results. So we've got a great guy with Frank Candido to help on the visibility of the stock, and we've got a great guy in Michel Chabdelaine to provide the technical and the results that we need. So merged together, it's a winning combination.
I'm really impressed with the company you guys are building. Thank you so much for your time today, Andre. If there's one thing you wanted shareholders to know about Delta Resources before we say goodbye today, what would it be, if anything?
Well, it would be stay tuned. We've got an awful lot of results that are going to be coming out. We started drilling in early November. I don't anticipate that we'll get a whole lot of results before January of 2021. But as those results come in, the news flow is going to continue very, very quick, and is going to continue, I would say, until the summer of 2021. So anticipate a lot of results, and we're crossing our fingers for a lot of very good results.
Now, if there's any shareholders, joint venture partners, anyone that wants to get into contact with you, that wants to work with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, all of our press releases have our contact information for both Frank and I. So just read to the bottom of the press release and you'll get our contact, or our contact is also on deltaresources.ca, our website.
What I'll do is I'll put the news that you guys have today in the description of this video, guys. So you guys will see all of that information in the description of this video. Thank you so much for your time today, Andre. And for those of you that are watching, if you like this video, please smash the like button, subscribe, and comment on the video, and share the video everywhere. It allows the video to go viral so more eyeballs and more people can see this company and learn about it for themselves. Thank you so much for your time today, Andre. Continue all your hard work and dedication towards the company. You're doing a fantastic job. I believe Delta Resources, guys that are watching all over the world, is undervalued, underappreciated, underexposed. When you were under 35, we were telling a lot of our community to get in. Last week, we saw the stock move to 44, 45. A lot of our community is very happy, and I believe this is just the start. So congratulations on all your success thus far, and our entire community will be watching. Thank you, Andre.
Thanks very much, Rich.
Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys soon, and have yourselves a nice day.